Ever tried reviving an entire cinematic universe in less than 5 minutes? Yeah, me neither. But after watching 4 minutes and 57 seconds worth of teasers on repeat for the last week, I found 3 crazy details, each hidden deeper than the last, that managed to fix almost every mistake Marvel made after Endgame,
I'm such a dick.
while also hinting at the plot of Doomsday and even the return of the Infinity Stones. So strap in as I try to convince you that Marvel is finally back, for real this time. Color. It's every time, everywhere, and yet, we often forget its importance in giving life and a unique vibe to a movie. The problem is that just a few years before these scenes came out, Marvel had kind of forgotten too. Remember when each Marvel movie used to have its distinct color palette, crazy looking scenery, and surprisingly good readability in battles where the sheer number of colors on screen should have given you a seizure? Well, just a few years after Endgame released and Marvel started putting quantity over quality, yes, I'm looking at you, and you, and you, and you. An unnecessarily high percentage of Marvel projects were either so bright and colorful that it gave the feeling Disney Channel was in charge of the color grading, and sometimes even the script.
I no longer go by the name Astrid. I'm now known as Axel.
Or so dull and desaturated that the only thing giving color or any sort of emotion to the production were explosions or cosmic powers. Thankfully, Marvel appears to have learned from their mistakes, and they went a lot further than just color correction. Let's do a test. If I were to blur every single one of the Doomsday teasers and completely cut out all of the audio, what words would you use to describe these scenes? Maybe warmth and peace for the first one, suspense, mystery, and/or death for these two? And for this last one, well, I have no clue what this big yellow man in pajamas is doing in the desert. The point is, unless you're colorblind and you have no clue what I've been talking about for the last 2 minutes, not only did Marvel went back to their old ways of playing with tones to convey emotion, set the scenes, and make some unexpected contrasts. What is this thing? But they've also been developing their characters and stories with color in a very unexpected way. In Marvel's latest projects like Fantastic Four First Steps, Guardians Volume 3, The New Avengers, Daredevil Born Again, and now Avengers Doomsday, you can clearly see how colors are treated just as importantly and professionally as they are in every Christopher Nolan film. And that's because color can also tell stories. If used correctly, that is. If we look at what could be considered saturated or bright-looking films,
I am soaking wet right now.
like Fantastic Four, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Thor Love and Thunder, we find that where the first two use the saturation to fit the comic-accurate, space, and futuristic or retro-futuristic vibe of the movie, the other does it in a jokeful and goofy-looking manner that takes all of the seriousness out of, well, everything. This wouldn't be a problem if you were making a Deadpool movie, but since the God of Thunder isn't supposed to have brain damage, it just feels off. On the flip side, there's the dark and desaturated movies and shows like The New Avengers, Daredevil Born Again, and Secret Invasion. Two of them use the darkness to reinforce the loneliness, the traumas, and the literal dark sides of the characters, while also giving contrast to suits like Sentries, Daredevils, Kingpins, and that creepy yellow chicken.
You hit me with that sign one more time.
Secret Invasion, on the other hand, uses blacks, grays, and darkness to make what's probably the most boring, uninteresting, and forgettable show I've seen in a while. So hopefully you're enjoying this video. I'd really appreciate it if you subscribed. It means a lot. Thanks. So yes, colors look better, more serious, and dramatic. But I'm pretty sure color grading isn't Marvel's main secret weapon to make Doomsday beat Endgame. That's what the characters are for. I'm not gonna ignore the fact that a big reason Doomsday is hyped as much as it is because of the characters we're expecting to see returning. I mean, there's a reason a 5.5-hour live stream showing Chairs got 275 million views. The question here is whether Marvel is gonna do all of these characters justice or not. Good luck for us, this next detail manages to answer that very same question with the cherry on top. Let's play a game. The Russo brothers specifically said that these are not trailers, but rather clues and stories. So before we get to the clues part in the last chapter, try to follow the story I'm about to tell you. And if you want a cookie, see if you can find the one word or characteristic that you would use to describe this story. Okay, ready? Go! This is Steve, a soldier who's only had one real break in his entire career between 1945 and 2011, but who now lives peacefully and gives life to a child, hinting at the beginning of the story and the only moment of peace the multiverse has before Doom eventually ignites the battle. A battle that Thor is preparing for. The god who played Goofball in the last movie and who should have lost his worthiness just by wearing that, now comes back rehabilitated to give us a speech that taught us that when a god is afraid, then we better be frightened. Frightened of death. Death comes for us all. Oh wait, my bad.
Death comes for us all.
Symbolized by the destroyed X-Mansion. Destroyed like the brotherhood and dreams that Charles and Eric once had together, that now return in these desperate times for one more game, one more battle before reaching the afterlife. A term Shuri refers to after saying that she's lost everything and how now her duties differ to those of the king. The princess and the outcast now stand as Black Panther and King in front of that thing I don't know the name of. Cool story, right? But did you get the word? If you said anything related to the word changed, I don't blame you if you thought it was literally any other word, then congratulations! You're halfway to getting your cookie. Because I believe Doomsday is supposed to represent change in two very unique ways. Do you think you can guess both? Listen to this. The X-Men are getting back together. Hey, that sounded like a rock band. Thor is finally repenting his sins. Steve is now a loving father who better be ready to change diapers all day. And the same should apply to every other character whose story was either forgotten or butchered by Marvel. By the way, you don't count, okay? You can stay as dead and forgotten as you are. Blame What If, and thank you very much. As you could see, the change has to do with each character, but their story isn't the only thing that changed. These guys look different. No, I don't mean they just got older.
They're gonna make him do this till he's 90.
But from Cyclops' comic-accurate suit and the normal-looking Thor armor, we can see that Marvel has finally listened to our requests and is doing their best to give us what we deserve from a multi-billion-dollar company. And that right there is the second type of change I was referring to. Marvel once lived and thrived in peace, later battled through some rough years, then death came as it does for us all, but they ended up refusing to stay dead, so they started listening to the fans, canceled a lot of projects to put quality over quantity, and got producers, writers, and artists locked the hell in and...
Boom, you looking for this?
Yes, we were. Oh, and this too. You're welcome. So great, characters seem to be a big part of the movie. Duh. However, what is color and characters just appearing on a screen without a story to follow? At the end of each of the 4 teasers, plus an Instagram post made recently, 5 secret codes flash on the screen right before the Doomsday Countdown begins that people have interpreted as timestamps. Some say they're from Iron Man 1, Infinity War, or that they're gibberish and we're going crazy. And yeah, maybe we are. But if we take these first numbers as hours and minutes and link them to the exact scenes in Avengers Endgame, they give us some interesting clues that reveal something crazy about the potential plot of the movie. So let's go through them, shall we? The first timestamp sends us to this scene, where the Ancient One explains the consequences of time travel to Bruce. This is probably the most important out of all the scenes, but I'll explain why later. For now, just know that these two are specifically talking about the Time Stone. The next timestamp takes us to this scene from the Time Heist. Not the scene where Loki is escaping, not quite the America's ass shot, but exactly at the 1 hour and 17 minute mark, where we get a clear shot of both Loki's staff and the Tesseract, also known as the Mind and Space Stones. The third clue is a bit harder to spot, but it still works. Listen to what Rocket says here.
And when she's not looking, suck out the Infinity Stone and help me get...
This time, Rocket is referring to the Reality Stone him and Thor were sent to retrieve. The fourth and final timestamp takes us to this meeting, where wouldn't you know it, the only 2 stones mentioned inside of that 1 hour and 4 minute mark are the Power and Soul Stones, the only 2 remaining from the bunch. What is left to mark this theory as proven? A final scene that, although some say it has to do with the glove Clint took from the past referencing time alteration, I can't help but think it's a lot less complicated than that, because just a few seconds before the end of the 1 hour and 1 minute mark, the camera conveniently pans across all 6 Infinity Stones. Could this be a coincidence? Especially after no repeats, all of the scenes coming from the same movie that's supposed to be a prequel to Doomsday, and the last timestamp conveniently showing all 6 stones. I think a better question to be asking here is, why the stones? Weren't these reduced to atoms and deemed as paperweights in the grand scheme of the multiverse? Yes, but that doesn't mean they can't still be useful in a very particular way. Thanks to the comics, we know that Doomsday is probably going to end with the creation of Battleworld, an amalgamation of a world Doom created after the multiverse collapsed due to the incursions, which happen when 2 universes get so close to each other that they and everyone dies. But Doom can't just play God Emperor and create a planet just like that. So that's where the stones come in. Maybe. In the comics, Doom steals the powers of the Beyonder, powers that literally go beyond those of entities such as the Living Tribunal or Eternity. So yeah, he's pretty strong. But so are the Infinity Stones, which leads me to assume that maybe these will have something to do with the creation of this fight club of his. What? Oh, Battleworld, right. The thing is that the 616 stones are Quantumania size, and either the Beyonder will simply appear in Doomsday, or Doom will use Franklin Richards' power, because if the kid can rewrite reality, I don't think making Earth 2 should be a problem. But hey, that's just a theory. My theory. So tell me what you think, and cut. And if you want to know how close we are to becoming Iron Man, click this video next. And as always, thanks for watching.